Elon Musk, despite being a nobody, on paper at least, kind of, he got let in on secret China war briefing plans, which is, it's funny to bring Elon in because my understanding is that he relies pretty heavily on China for his parts manufacturing, requisition, sales. I don't think he benefits from an invasion of China. I think he just wanted to be there. Anyway, it got leaked because, as it turns out, it's actually really crazy to have like the world's stupidest billionaire present in the room while you discuss top secret plans to potentially invade the world's largest nation, basically. So yeah, no, it's pretty wild. Oh, and now of course he's threatening the leakers. They will be found, warns U.S. President Donald Trump's billionaire advisor. Shadow President is a lot shorter. They just need to settle on Shadow President. They will be found. I don't know if they will. I don't think these guys are that competent. According to anonymous American officials, the Pentagon planned to brief Musk on Friday about the U.S. military's plan for any war that might break out with China. After the story went live, the plan was confirmed by Pentagon officials and Trump, but both denied the session would discuss military plans involving China. Of course. China will not even be mentioned or discussed, Trump wrote in a post on his Truth Social platform. How disgraceful it is that the discredited media can make up such lies. Anyway, the story is completely untrue. I believe him. I believe it, which is why it's so weird that he would get mad about it, right? Like, why would Elon Musk be like, they will be found, if he wasn't set to be, like, if the thing that was reported on wasn't real, you being invited to the secret China war briefing, then why are you pissy about it? You're just being a little defensive. If we're with Russia now and they're with China, wouldn't we be with China then? Russia and China don't actually get along, to be clear. They're very much like enemy of our enemy is our friend territory. They haven't been friends since the 70s. They've got an ongoing territorial conflict, a big one. Massive differences in how they handle. I've said this a million times before, but like the Russian oligarchs literally just want to pillage their own country to live as like, pedophile kings forever. Whereas the Chinese Communist Party does seem interested in actually running a country, unlike our current government, unfortunately. So they want to be Trump. Well, Trump and his buddies want to be like the Russian oligarchs, for sure. So Russia's like America? Well, no, Russia did it first and better, so we're getting to be more like them. We should give them the respect they deserve, But China does not like Russia. So it makes sense then that given the fact they're interested more in pillaging than nation building, the Trump administration would like Russia but dislike China. They do sincerely dislike China, by the way. Trump may personally like Xi Jinping, but I do not think they like China broadly. And I think the main reason for, genuinely, I think the main reason for that is because China might not be a democracy, but they are interested in nation building. I know I sound like a 4X player when I say that. I'm sorry, I've never actually played, I don't know, Crusader Kings or whatever, but I really do think that's the reason. I think that Trump's cabinet is made up of a bunch of megalomaniacs, and when they see Russia, they see a pillaged society run by a few dozen horrendous, pedophilic monsters for whom the law does not apply. And when they look at China, let's be real, Chinese officials, high up members of the CCP, they have a lot of power. They also have a lot of responsibility, right? I don't think they like that at all. I think they see in that the same things they don't like about democracy, right? They don't like bureaucracy. They don't like civil management. They don't like having a job. They just want to go to Little St. James all day, every day, right? I think racism is a better explanation than this. It's partly that, but I don't think so. I think that, if you take any one of the members of Trump's cabinet at the top level, it's kind of like Trump and trans people, right? Trump will weaponize his movement against trans people if it means benefiting himself and his followers or whatever. Trump personally doesn't give a about trans people, right? Like, you all know, if Trump was, it's like 1997 and Trump's at a party and there's like a trans woman there who's like giving mad head or doing coke, whatever they do at these parties, right? He's not going to get morally indignant. He doesn't care. He's there to party, right? He's a New York billionaire real estate mogul. He doesn't care. And he's met with plenty of Chinese people. Sure, but Trump is super racist? Yes, but he's the kind of racist who would work with and get along with the groups of people he was racist against. I know that's crazy to imagine, like in today's world where racism is expressed online primarily in the form of like vice signaling, alt-right, neo-Nazi 17-year-olds who are leagues from losing their virginity. But for most of, I would say, like the past century, there's a lot of people who are casually racist but still kind of get on with their day. And I think that's most people in that position, right? It's kind of difficult to be like a New York City, top of the world, meet with everyone, party with everyone, da-da-da, if you're so racist that it gets in the way of stuff like, you know, having a good time at Little St. James. It is that shallow. So the point I'm trying to get at here, are they racist against Chinese people? Absolutely. But I do think a lot of it is also like a disdain for civil management. The Chinese Communist Party, you know, regardless of how its higher-ups might feel, they have a lot of work to do. And there is a lot of work that goes into the management of that state. The Russian oligarchs don't do shit. The Russian oligarchs push all the real civil administration work, whatever there is, down one peg, and they keep partying. Consistently, this is the case. Like, literally any news you follow on any of those oligarchs, it's always the same with those motherfuckers. The only times they deign to do actual work themselves is when they're stupid enough to get in Putin's close orbit because they want to benefit from him. You know what I mean? I thought Putin still did things. Putin does a lot, but he does it like the way a dictator would. So he doesn't have to do much like paperwork is what I mean. He doesn't have to do much like civil management. He's kind of just sitting on the throne giving orders and like doing Krav Maga for the camera. You know what I mean? Would you say the same about Iran? Well, it depends on what half of the government you're talking about, right? The religious half of the government, right? I would say probably is mostly interested in sitting on their thumbs. Based on what I've heard, you know, from everyone from the morality police all the way up to the Ayatollah, it seems like maybe some of them work hard. I don't know. But it seems like for the most part, they're kind of just interested in power and the freedom it brings. There are a lot of legitimate, like, bureaucratic civil administrators in Iran. Iran's a big country. You know, a country like that, it takes some work to run. I'm sure that there are plenty of people in their government who do their jobs, you know, fine. Nah, you get me. What about Turkmenistan? I don't know. Would you say it's also because China isn't interested in spreading fascism around the world like Russia? Well, that's really complicated. It does kind of seem like China isn't interested in fascistic political thought as a first principle. Rather, it's something they lean into as a way of stabilizing an otherwise neoliberal framework. Economically speaking, I mean. So when you have like the dengist boom economically, right? And everyone benefits. Not everyone, but a lot of people benefit. But then when you have the birth rates, they stagnate. You have the economic boom, it stagnates. You have the age balloon starting to move up into retirement. People are getting more nervous. COVID happens. And the Chinese government starts to lean more into like openly fascistic stuff. Warmongering, surveillance state over the Uyghur Muslims. But it is true that the Chinese don't export fascism in the same way Russia does. Nobody exports fascism the same way Russia does. So yeah, different national strategies. People don't think of China as neoliberal, even though it was the poster child. Yeah, no, literally, and it's one of the big successes of neoliberalism when compared to what China was before. But China is undeniably neoliberal economically. The government is fascist politically, and I think they're doing that. I mean, you've heard it from me before, right? Like fascism is capitalism in decay. They're running into these demographic issues, these economic issues. How do you stabilize a society when the legitimacy of your government is predicated largely on your ability to improve people's quality of life, and that ability is diminishing? The Chinese Communist Party for decades now has been running up against this wall. They were able to get hundreds of millions of Chinese people up to like, hey, pretty like middle class, you know? They brought them up. What do you do now? Well, now people are getting antsy. People aren't having as many kids. That boom when you go from the farms to the factories, I mean, it's like you're starting to slow down a little bit. What happens now? Well, now you start warmongering about Taiwan. Not that they haven't been doing that before, but obviously with the South China Sea and the island hopping they've been doing, like it's been ramping up. You get me. Okay, not to be soy, but you can't call everything you don't like fascist. First of all, yes, I can. Second of all, what am I wrong on? Don't challenge me in whether or not the things I call fascist are in fact fascist off, because that's a battle I've been winning for a long time. Frankly, I have a strong record on this one, okay? You just shoulder checked the public and he turned around. You're looking at Mike Tyson, okay? Do you really want to escalate this? No, I'm Kidding. I'm slightly weaker than Mike Tyson is on this issue if you scale it out proportionally. You mean Jake Paul? You're right. There's always a bigger fish, huh? If fascism is exclusively equal to capitalism and decay, then what was their form of government in the 70s when they became more capitalist? Well, the real boom in private enterprise in China was with Dengism, right? Like that really kicked off in the 90s. I mean, during the 1970s, that wasn't really capitalist. That was like that was like that was a continuation of the Maoist like you know, Great Leap Forward-esque decision making. I mean, there was still very like centrally dictated, as much as you can with a country that large. And then you had the famine. Ugh. Mao only died in 76. What's that quote? If Mao died in the 50s, he would be thought of globally as a hero for all time. If he died in the 60s, he would be thought of as a mixed figure, a hero, but complicated. But alas, he died in the 70s. What more is there to be said? Something like that. What is Vietnam? Vietnam's capitalist. There are no socialist countries. God willing, one day. One day. Except Cuba? No, not except Cuba. One day. Can I ask, why do you think China is fascist? Because, I mean, they're a ultra-palingenic, is that the right term? Am I blanking on that term? Ultra-palingenic? Ultra-palingenic? Ethno-state. They're Han supremacists, they're expansionists, they're militaristic, they venerate machismo and masculinity and like authoritarian chauvinist rule as a way of palingenetic. Thank you. Palingenetic ultranationalism. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a very good term. It's very pointed. I mean, like, there's, depending on what like metrics of analysis you employ, you know, there's a bunch of ways at arriving at the same endpoint, but no, they are. Keep in mind, fascism is a political system, not an economic one. Right? Fascist countries are overwhelmingly capitalist. Their form of capitalism is neoliberal. That's the attitude they take towards it, though it's, you know, neoliberal with Chinese characteristics. These terms are broad. They're meant more to describe general tendencies than like hyper-specific, you know, like attributes, right? The world's a complicated place. What's the rebirth they're going for? Have you seen Chinese propaganda from the past like 10 years or so? They've been fully, like, I know we get isolated from it a little bit on the other side of the Great Firewall, but like the Chinese Communist Party has really been leaning into the like, we glorious Han Chinese and our empire of 4 millennia we are free of the century of humiliation. We are free of the boot of the colonizer, of the Westerner, of the European. We now form stronger than ever, a greater society. We are the forebears of the emperors in the past, you know, the Forbidden City, etc., etc. They really lean in on it. I mean, they do the same shit Mussolini did with Italy and Rome, you know? They, not to the same extent, but listen, not everyone can be Mussolini, okay? Was fascism always a dirty word, politically speaking? Did movements ever call themselves fascists? Fascism wasn't really conceptualized the same way that, say, communism was, where you get some big brain, big beard individuals to sit down and like, you know, write out a theory people believed in. It was more a descriptor of a state. Mussolini actively argued for it, but for the most part, fascist governments tend not to really self-refer as fascist. I mean, fascists are almost always deliberately dishonest, right? So lying kind of comes with that.